So welcome in, family. Welcome into the Cool Down Den. I'm Stu, your host that does the most and that talks and loves to boast, man. We have a great episode today with some lovely guests. This is a space where we keep it raw, we keep it relatable, and today we're diving into a tough conversation, but a necessary one I think we all need to have. All right. Today we're talking about what's harder, dating while broke or dating while broken. And I think this is a very deep conversation that we need to have especially in the black community, but all communities, especially nowadays, because we're in a recession, times getting hard, presidents doing crazy shit. So, so definitely money and health already carries a lot of weight. Expectations, double standards, survival all play a role. And tonight we're unpacking all of it, okay? But I'm not alone doing so. I'm not alone doing that. We have a really good panel host. We have a good panel today. We got the man Kill right here, who man, up and coming streamer. We gonna train him right into the stream world. So make sure I look out for him. I might have everybody's socials posted on the YouTube, on the Spotify, everything like that. We got my homegirl, basically we got Krika Bell in the building.
Yeah.
A great person. One thing I do know she is a part of is that kitchen. And I don't mean that in a weird way. She knows how to cook, she knows how to throw down. Every time she posts something on Snapchat, I'm like, I'm coming over virtually because I'm not actually going nowhere. And then we got the man Prez, man.
So I'm the CEO of Captured Images Media Group. Basically, we do weddings, anything videography needs. That's me. That's what we do.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
he put you in your best light. Put you in your best light.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
need that. Yeah. And y'all already know me. Y'all already know me. I'm the man that has good laughs. I rage a little bit while I play Warzone because Warzone's ass. But here we talking about, like I said, dating while broken or broke. So let's kick it off. So first question I have is, do y'all think people are judged more for being financially broke or emotionally broken? What do y'all think is people are judged for more? Krika, you can start us off.
I feel like financially broke off instincts. People just judge by your looks. First impression counts. So if you don't have no money to show for, then it's to the next one, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah.
I actually like this better. Okay, so with that, I mean, Prez, you can go next. Do you think people judge more based off of your wallet, or do they based off of emotional?
So for me, I think that it kind of really deals with where you are in an economic class.
Mm-hmm.
Because for so many different people, if you come from an upper echelon background, you think from an emotional standpoint versus being from a lower economic or middle class standpoint, you think financial. And it also has to deal with where you are in life. I was having a conversation with someone. I was just like, the biggest thing is it's what type of basically where you are in your life, because there's a lot of different things to where like you view things differently based off the money that or the things that you brought in your horizon at. And I think 2020 gave us a lot of different emotional standpoints from where we are as in how we view things from an emotional standpoint, and from an economical standpoint, I think that you can only go so far as to where you've been and how the money that you touched and the money that you're around. I think that definitely makes a difference in how you view money. I think in our community, it really boils down to being financially broke, because a lot of us are not in touch with our emotions, for definitely from a man standpoint, we're not in touch with our emotions. The only time that you kind of quote unquote hear or see us be emotional for anything is typically when it's a death, and then we don't even really technically ever process that. We kind of just
Right,
cry at
right.
the funeral and go from that from standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
From a happy standpoint is like, oh, we got the money, we got bread, we got the new J's, we got the new car we wanted, a new house. We were able to do something like that. But for the most part, we're not in a broad spectrum of where our emotions are. So it's kind of our community definitely judging more on being financially unstable more than being emotionally unstable.
Okay, okay. Hey, I love how deep you got in that because you made me bring up some questions. I was like, okay,
Yeah, I got
okay.
some
So I,
questions
I
down.
love, I love, I
Yeah.
love that, and this is what I love about it. So, Q, what do you think, man? What is your response to that? Do you think people get judged more on, their financial stability or their emotional background?
I feel like I'm in agreement with everybody as far as like finances because I feel like right now in today's age, like we are having more open conversations about like mental health and stuff, and like people trying to like meet people where they are and just understanding that. But it's like he said, when your finances are good, like you're probably in more of a better emotional like state of mind. Like you're making more sound decisions. Like when you got money, you feel good. You feel me? So like you feel like you're thinking straight. You like attacking the problems. So yeah, it really comes down to that. So I agree.
I feel that. I feel that. And I say that because, like I said, I just had a conversation with the homegirl, Chrissy last night, and we was talking about this. And one thing that why is this not doing? Whatever. One thing that we were talking about was money is not everything, right? And I used to say, and I'm a big believer in whoever came up with saying money don't make you happy must have always had money in their life. Because let me tell you,
Yeah.
you have never like if you come from a background where you have to pick and choose between like brushing your teeth or buying toothpaste and stuff and having to eat, that's a decision that people with money have never had to think about. And so, yeah, I come from a background to where, like, yeah, if I had a couple hundred $1,000, I don't think I would be as sad as depressed as I am right now because most of my issues are money related. So, but at the same time, obviously, we do know there's levels to that. There's definitely levels to that. There's definitely levels to that. But I definitely would have to agree. And I can only speak from the man's perspective, but I do know there's a lot of times in my life where, as a man, having to ask for money, as a man, you get looked at so bad because, like, when you're a man and you asking for money, they look at you like, why are you not figuring it out? Why are you not getting stuff done? Well, you're a man, right? So get stuff done. So it's definitely really hard. We're not that part of the segment yet. As y'all see, I'm a little riled up about some stuff. I'm still working. I'm still got my therapist. But no, like there's something we're gonna get into that. But first, we're gonna get into the next question here. And you brought up a good point, Prez. So this kind of leans into the point you were saying before: is how does generational wealth gaps and systematic barriers shape the way we show up in relationships now, right? Like, and that spoke to what you were speaking about before. Like, people who grew up with money, people who grew up, they have a different viewpoint on what emotional intelligence is. So, people like, we grew I can't say we, 'cause I don't know how all y'all grew up, but I mean, we all with the Livingstone, so we know how that is at least. Just talking about a Livingstone experience. We know, like, like a Livingstone, we ain't really have toilet paper in the dorm. We had to bring our own toilet paper, so like it's definitely kind of different than if you went to LC. So I'm
Hey,
gonna go to Kilo, man. Start with you. How do you think it is different for people who had a different upbringing? Do you think that that can really show itself in relationships?
it definitely shows like like if you have money, you you're obviously able to do more, so you're able to I guess like court a person differently. Whereas you got like the situation where I'd say like you got a guy who like he on his last 20 and he like I'm about to take this girl out, this is my last 20, like, and then the other dude like he got like all this crazy money, take her out, they have fun or whatever, but it just I don't know. It's just different. You're able to do more. You're just able to do more when you got money, so you don't feel limited in like how you approach a person. Like that's pretty much like what I would say like my input. Um and then on the flip side is just like if you don't have it, you're like I don't know. I feel like emotionally, if you don't have it, if you're in tune with yourself, it puts you in a place where you appreciate things more. So you would be like that person, like, let's go to the park, like, let's connect like that versus like, let's go to expensive date for the first time around. Like, I feel like not having it makes you a little more open to connecting versus leading with your money.
Hmm.
But like I said, having the money opens the floor to do a lot more stuff.
Right. For sure. For sure. For sure. So, Prez, I mean, like I said, this is kind of your question. So we're gonna get into you about this, man. What do you think? Like, how do you think I shouldn't have said this right. So how do you think that generational gap or wealth and things like that really affects relationships nowadays?
Well, I feel this way about it. I think that whenever, me and my ex, we were two different people. She came from a two-parent household and I came from a single parent household. So we had two different perspectives on bills and how things should run. Much like you said, the necessities of like having to choose whether or not like what I'm gonna do. Like, should I just do? Should we be late on this bill to make sure we eat, or should we do yada yada yada? And you never really understand that until you've been in that position to where like, your lights have never been off until it was a storm that happened, somebody hit a pole versus me, whereas in like, oh joint, the lights are off. So let me run in, take this little shower real quick before the hot water go out. Like, it's a different perspective whenever you come from that. It's two different mindsets to where like you don't under I wouldn't say, let me say it like this. You just don't understand because you've never been in that situation. I can't expect you to view that or understand my point of view if you've never been in that. It's just like, random things like, we all went to Livingstone. It's each one of us have a different experience of being at Livingstone versus we're at the same space. And it's just like a ant and a giraffe. Yes, they're looking at the same thing, but they don't have the same perspective because of their viewpoints and their structure of how things look. Whenever it's a different divide when it comes to that because I can't expect you to understand something that you've never been into. Whenever you don't have to decide what your biggest decision is, what am I gonna eat, not when am I gonna eat. So it's a difference to kind of what you kind of structure your life around because you don't have those worries. And it's not a bad thing. Like, I don't want anybody to feel and see this podcast and feel like, oh, hey, well, it's because I didn't get it out the mud. No, that's fine. Whatever your life structure is, everybody's not going to have the same thing. Even if we came, even though we're all Black and we came from the same community, we're not going to have the same experiences because everybody's structure or life differences are different because some people come from two-parent households. Some people's parents have always had good jobs. Some people have never had to experience being me. I'm from a single parent household and I'm the only son. So I'm the oldest. So there's a lot of things that I was privy to than most people in my situation to where
Mhm.
like we may be the same age, but we have different vast views of different things because my mom was a single parent and it's three of us and I'm the only boy. So there is a lot of things that I had to learn very, very
Right.
quickly,
Right, right.
whereas that most people would have never even had to, kind of get like grasp that.
No, for sure, for sure. That is, and that's the facts right there. That is definitely the facts. Like it's just different. It's just different. So, and there's also difference between men and women. When it comes to not just this question, but the whole broke versus dating while broke stuff. So, Krika, I want you to tell. I mean, right now you don't only feel more sure right now. So I want to tell your side of it, right? Dating while broke, or have you ever dated someone that is like that came from a very put together family, right? They ain't really had to struggle as much. They ain't really have to worry about that. Like, have you ever had to go through that?
No, I dealt with a lot of men that was like, how can I say this? They're not like financially broke. Like their home is not really broken, but they grew up in like single parent homes and stuff, just like me and all that.
Hmm.
But they really don't have to worry when it comes to like asking for things for their family versus me. Ask me that question again. I'm kind of nervous too.
No, no,
This
you
is
good,
the
you
first
good, you good.
podcast.
And I know that's a real deep question right there. That is a real deep question.
It's a
So
deep question
so
too, but
how does generational wealth gaps, right, or and systematic barriers shape the way we show up in relationships?
to be honest, like what Preston said and what's his name, Kill.
Mm.
I would agree with both with what y'all was saying when it comes to different perspectives. Me and my boyfriend now we live together and we both came from the same struggle, same everything, but we had two different perspectives of how to hustle. Like my
Hmm.
hustle is way different from his. It's kind of the same barrier, but we used to bump heads all the time because we tried I tried to tell him one thing, that's how you do it. And he tried to tell me another thing, that's how to do it. But still, it's the same type of how we both trying to do it. It's the same.
Yeah, I mean, as long as
How
y'all
can I say
together,
it?
as long as y'all
Yeah,
together, y'all
it's
grinding together,
together.
like. you
But
know?
I feel like it's more about teaching because everybody, like you said, is two different. Everybody got a different perspective. But if we teach each other the way we trying to say it to each other, I feel like it would be a better, outcome when it
For
comes to
sure.
relationships. But nowadays, people expect too much from each other. Instead of
Preach.
listening to what we have to say, they just want to just end it and go to somebody else that know how to do and how to figure it out. But that's just in my opinion, especially for us women, because men already see us as, gold diggers, or whatever. What's some other words they call us? Pocket watchers or whatever you call it. And they
I
feel
don't know.
like money. I don't know what they call us, but they feel like money is an easy access to, our temple and all that stuff. So for women, men don't really listen to us when it comes to finance. They feel like we don't know what we're talking about already off rip. So, but
Okay.
it's like I said, it's all different perspectives, but it's a lot of more expectations nowadays than perspective. People ain't trying to hear what we got to say when it comes to how to survive or not even survive, how to build more when it, in the near future for ourselves. But that's all I have to say. More
Facts.
on it.
No, that's good. That's good. That's some good stuff right there. So that actually leads me to my next question right here. And okay, let me just start by saying that women might have a point of view on this that I may not have even thought about. So if you do got a point of view on this next question, let me know. Okay. But I know as a guy, this question right here hits me. Have you ever felt that your financial struggles has made you less desirable as a partner?
Well, let
That
me
yeah, Cricket, go ahead.
Because I hate when they feel like that. I hate when men feel it's not making you less of anything. That's called self doubt, or what's that other word? A low self esteem. I mean, you're gonna feel like that. It's okay to feel like that, but don't. You gotta have a stronger mindset. If you feel that way, then just try to do something about it. But I hate when. But I feel like they make it as an excuse. I feel like men make this as an excuse of why he's that way. I don't know. I hear that so many times from men, it be getting on my nerves because, like, what? I mean, we all go through the same. We don't go through the same struggle, but we all been there. But look at me, I'm still trying to, pave my way to get better. But I don't know. I'm
No,
gonna
I
let y'all
feel you.
talk on that. I'm gonna let y'all talk on it.
No,
I just
I
want to
feel
hear.
I thank you so much for that, and because I'm gonna keep it a buck. That's always the response I get from females. So
I just hate
I
it.
expect you. I thank you so much for that because now I want to hear. Like I said, when I wrote this question, when the question came up, I was like, it says universal, but I don't think this is gonna be a universal question. But I'm gonna let Preston answer this, man. What do you think when it comes to have you ever felt less desirable because you didn't, because of basically because of money?
So it's two ways. Me personally, yes, but it also depends on the caliber of women that you are attracted to, and you kind of being with certain caliber women, you have to meet or exceed where they're at. You can't be below wherever they're at. There are some instances where there have been moments and things that it was more or less like Creeker was saying, like it was more or less really me. She wanted me and she loved me for who I was, but because we are conditioned in our community to be a provider. There's never any instances, and there's an ongoing joke that Chris Rock tells that men are the only people who are in love with conditions. Men, women, cat, dogs, children, everybody else in the world are in love with unconditional love. There's only men who are conditioned or in love with conditions. So, for me, I think that there are moments to where there are times where I felt like I was less desirable because, like, 9 times out of 10, most women, depending on, again, it depends on the structure or the culture of women that you like. Some of them don't look for money. Some of them do, some of them don't. But if you in the club and we stand in side, the guy who is flexing bottles in this day and age or whatever is more than likely going to get picked up. Now, does that mean that he's the best option? Absolutely
No.
not. Absolutely.
Hey, he might
Could this be
he might have only had it that night.
correct?
It's still
God,
some people that sit
there are
on the
guys
front
who
that still
save
be
up
taking people
just
through
to
there.
flex. They save up to
Right.
flex.
But from the standpoint of from a visual standpoint, we're just talking about visual. Before we get to that, 9 times out of 10, a lot more people will look at him versus the other
Mhm.
guy. So, and again, it doesn't have nothing to kind of, because I know people who pick up women in both aspects, fully suited and booted, and then people who in Crocs and a t-shirts and sweats who will bag your lady and think nothing less of it. It's just that, So, but from a financial standpoint, I do understand why most men feel that way, because you got to understand you're taught to be in most communities, definitely in the Black community, you're taught to be a provider. There's never anything about taught to be a husband, taught to be anything other than to be a provider. That is the only thing that most people or most men in the Black community are taught to be, as a provider. So if I feel less than a provider, and it's like, the stigma of broke nigga this, broke, broke, broke. Like, if you can't afford to do this, like, man, if you broke, then just say that. That's what a lot of women in discourse that is on the internet that says, like, if you can't do this, yada yada yada. If he can't, then let me send my homeboy, or like, so it's easy for it to be a discourse of, yeah, like, if you don't got money, then it ain't nothing to talk about.
No, facts. And especially in the day and age and we're gonna get to you, Kill, after I say this real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially in this day and age, we live in a day and age now where there's a lot of people. I'm doing my very best to not make this a man versus woman thing, because people who watch my stream know I do that a lot. So, chat, I want y'all to know I'm working very hard to not make this a man versus woman, because right now it's uneven. Krika's by herself, so I'm not gonna do that. Okay, so that's why I try to be even, but whatever. So, but we do live in a day and age where it is a lot easier for women nowadays to make money than it is now. Okay, guys have always been able to make money for generations, for decades, for hundreds and hundreds of years. But in 2025, we're talking about today, it is a lot easier for women to make money. Now, do they have to do it in certain ways that they may not want to do? Yes, 100%. So, but there are ways for women to make money if they choose to do it and go that route, right? And if you do choose to go that route, man, they shitting on everybody's pockets. Let me tell you. And what I don't gotta say it, we all know what industry I'm talking about. But yes, there's a lot of ways.
But not even to cut you off, but not even just in the instances in general. There are avenues. There's always somebody in the background who's willing to help anyone.
Mhm,
It
mhm.
doesn't matter who you are, what you look like. There's somebody in your background that is more than willing to help anyone. It doesn't matter what it is, and it's just from the factor of, even from single parents, whatever, there's just more help for women in general. That's like, just in general. Like, it don't even have to be like a cultural divide, for women in general. If you drive past a woman on the highway who has a tire, like her flat tire, and she need to change her tire, you're more apt to stop than it being a man. You gonna zoom right past him. It's just,
It's just how it is.
yeah, it's just what it is.
We're gonna get into that, because like I said, I have questions tailored for women. I have questions tailored for men. So we're gonna get into that in a second. Kill, what do you think? I'm gonna reset the question here just in case you
Mhm.
forgot anything like that. Have you ever felt that your financial struggles have made you less desirable as a partner?
Not necessarily, because just me personally, I'm all about meeting the person where they at. So I'm just like, I'm more of an understanding person when it comes to like aspects of like friendships, relationships, everything in general. So I don't know. I've never like let money like make me feel less of a person. It definitely controls like more of what I'm able to do, because I just approach everything from an aspect of what's in my control, what's not in my control. So it's like, if I got the money, you know what I'm saying? Like, I can do a little bit more. If I don't, I just have to like meet a person. Like, they have to meet me where I'm at. If they don't, it is what it is. Um, because some people, they just don't have that emotional intelligence.
And I think it does go back to that. It does go back to the emotional intelligence, because it is very easy to point out and stick out, no matter what avenue we in, right? To point out and sticking out, like, dang, she a female. Like I know, for instance, right now in the streaming world, right? Right now in the streaming world, it's very hot for a lot of guys who are not growing as much, right? It's very easy to say, well, damn, if I was a female with some titties, I'd be getting 100,000 viewers right now. And
Yeah.
and there's some there are definitely some instances like that. I'm not going front. There are definitely some people in the streaming world where the girls do literally nothing. They do literally nothing. I pop in a stream and I'm just like, damn, what? But I mean, it just is what it is. It just is what it is. So there is definitely a divide there, but there's been a divide there since the beginning of time, right? So because of that, black women, I'm not gonna say black women, just some women nowadays overall have been labeled gold diggers if they want financial stability, that is. So, but they also are told that they have to hold a man down if he's broke. So, Krika, this question's for you. How do you navigate that double standard? Because at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure you would like to be taken care of. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody does, man or woman does. But at the same time, how do you express that you want to be taken care of without being labeled as she just want me for my pocket?
Regardless, either or, we're gonna still be labeled some type of way. If I ask her for money, I'm a gold digger. If I don't ask for money, I'm too independent. It's like I just don't get it. Sometimes that's why I just like to do things by myself for myself, because nowadays it's really hard to date men out here, especially when it comes to stuff like that. And now I don't know why men be like, if I'm down, just hold me out and stuff, and then we be labeled, oh, she my queen, I'm gonna marry her. Well, I guess for us, we want to be a wife one day. We have these perspectives of, we want to do good for our men, but when it comes to us, men would just go, just shut us out and then go to somebody else that has, I don't know, like y'all said, emotional stability. I don't know. I just don't get it. Like this double standard thing is really confusing as I'm growing up, and as me being a woman myself and looking outside in is it's just too much. It's too much for a woman. Y'all say women got it easy and stuff, but it's really hard for us women, especially when it comes to men in the financial world. It's either, yeah, like I said, we either get judged by a gold digger or we just too independent. It's nothing to it.
And that's why I wanted to ask that question, because I reckon I've been raised well, obviously by a black mama, right? And so I try to look at things in a way that is fair for everyone. Now, of course, I don't always do that. Of course, there are times where I do lean to the man side because I'm just a man and I live that lifestyle, right? You let the man down, and once he's up, he leaves. Okay, see, and that's a good point right there, Cosmic. I think that's a lot of fear that a lot of people have, right? Not just women, but for men too, right? I think a lot of men and women think like that. Like, once you, like, I've been holding you down, and now that you good, you gone, right? And I don't think that's fair, because I think the real conversation of that should be man or woman, regardless. It shouldn't matter. There has to be a conversation. It should be about alignment, right? I was talking to Chrissy last night about this, and it's about alignment, right? I think there's a lot of relationships nowadays that are just not aligned, man or woman together. Prez, what you about to say, bro?
So I think that the gold digger term is only in our community. I don't think that it's ever in any other ethnic group,
Mm-hmm.
because if it is, this is the way that it's kind of play. Is you just outsmarted him a little bit better than what he thought. Because in other communities, they're taught ring before spring. So you need to have this ring. You need to get all this situated before spring. So in our community, if a woman is asking for X, Y, and Z, she's considered a gold digger. Like Krika said, if she doesn't, then she's too independent. So if she's with somebody who doesn't have the bread or whatever, now she's labeled a stupid lady. Like she just with this man and she taking care of him and all of this. So she damned if she do and damned if she don't. So it's kind of one of those situations to where like it's no win-win situation for her. And other communities, it's looked at as if he got to figure it out and he gonna be there either way.
And that's why a lot of us women just rather stay single, because we don't have to worry about the bull. Can I cuss up here?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have to worry about
I
this.
don't know what we allowed to do in here.
Man, maybe I ain't made the rules. Go ahead, cuz this is an adult podcast. You don't got
Okay,
to be cussed or whatever.
okay, but that's why we just rather
Okay,
stay
I'm about to say
single.
I don't know if kids watching it.
Yeah,
If they do, that's their parents' fault. I put a disclaimer.
Got you.
that's right. That's why we rather stay single, so we have to deal with this bullshit because it's just too much. And like what Preston said, but you know what? I'm not gonna lie. I would like to be wine and dine. I like to see the lavish stuff sometimes. So it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong for a woman wanting to be a woman when we come to our men about, finances. Because most of the time, it is hard for us women to get things like groceries or, we got to pay our car note. We got to get our car fixed. We got to do all that. Sometimes I feel like it's okay to go to your man, but nowadays it's not okay to do any of that. You got to be independent. But I don't know. I'd be so confused out here. That's why I just stay in my own little bubble because there's too much compromising out here in the world and expectations, and I feel like it is getting too high at this day and age.
No, I definitely understand. I definitely agree because, and then Kill, I want you to weigh in on this after this. I definitely do agree, especially like I have a lot of female friends and they all talk about doing that balance that we just spoke of, right? Because at the end of the day, yeah, you're a woman, you want to be wanted on, you want to be loved. We all do, right? And I think that the problem is we as a people don't talk about the actual issue at hand. And for me, I see the issue is we're all just scared and insecure that we're going to be taken advantage of. Can we just be real for a second? That's what the real underlying factor is. This whole gold digging thing is just men saying, I am scared out of my mind that I'm going to fall in love with you. And then you gonna be with me. We get this money, and then you go and sleep with the next person, and just poof, gone. Because sadly, there are a lot of instances where you fall in love with a girl, you get married, y'all have kids, and then boom, you get divorced. And we know how the court goes. The court 9 times out of 10 does side with the woman. So now the man has lost his kids, the man has lost his money, the man has lost all. So that's why it's a lot of fear as a man. I'm just speaking from the man's perspective here. There's a lot of fear when you talk about money when women lead with money, because it's like, okay, I'm thinking future tense. I'm thinking about marriage. If she doing all this from day one, and let me just go over here, So I definitely could see that, and and on the flip side of that as well, there's a lot of good women out here who are getting looked at as certain things that should not, because there are girls out there that like that. So but we're gonna get into that a little bit later. But Kill, I want to get your point of view on this. What you think? And so what is your point of view when women are labeled as gold diggers, but all they really want is financial stability? And then on the flip side, they're also told to hold a man down if a man don't have financial stability.
I guess I'll speak a little bit more to the gold digger side of it. I don't know. I guess it all comes in the approach, like how she approached the dude. Like it's like you got one narrative where it's like, oh, you want to deal with me? I need XYZ, like bill paid and this, that, and the third. Versus, like I was having a conversation with a friend, like versus when they come to court and me, like if you want to talk to me, like like get me flowers, like like just make an attempt to show me that you like really fuck with me, you know what I'm saying? So there's a difference. It all comes in like the approach, because some people they be like, what can you do for me, like right out the gate? And for me, that just make me just like shut down. Like, okay, I see what you're here for. You're not even like trying to like get to know or like really connect on a like on the mind, like you just thinking about resources and stuff. And me as a man, like you said, my biggest fear is like wasting my time, attention, and resources. I don't want to waste that on anybody. Like my time is precious. If I put my time into you, like I genuinely give a fuck about you. So I just don't like, it's like, this life, we only get one life. So the way you use your time, like that really matters. And if you don't care about how you use your time, then that's a bigger problem. So, it's just, I don't know, just being able to have the discernment to know, okay, this person is looking for a come up versus this person just wants to be treated right or as they should. Cause it's like me as a man, like I want to be appreciated, whether that's like you doing something for me, like financially, or just, like showing me like, hey, I see you like holding it down, you doing your thing. Like, let me like take a little load off for you because you holding it down. But as far as the other side of that with holding somebody down, I can understand where it might be confusing for a woman, because like somebody said in the comments, there was like, like you hold a person down and then as soon as they up, like they just up and leave you. Cause it's like the money changes you. Like once you get the money and stuff like that, it's like you're like I said, like I always go back to this meeting a person where they at. You're dealing with this person in the mindset of where they're low, and then you don't you have to like shift to accept them like where they are when they're up, and they might not be on that same level because like they may feel like my partner didn't grow with me, or they just might be a shitty individual where they just like, hey, nah, you done served your purpose for me. Like, let me go on and find better because I feel like I am better now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can see how it can be a little confusing, but like I said, for me, it really just come down to discernment, like the type of person that you're dealing with. Like, you know that they're a good person. You know they're worth like, is this person worth putting that time into? Like, are they worth putting the time, attention, and resources? Or like for a woman, is it worth holding this person down because I see the potential in him or whatever? But I tell people like, don't date a person for their potential though, because a lot of people got potential that they don't tap into.
Don't tap
Like,
into.
like, hey, this person can be the greatest motherfucker over here, but they not tapping into it. And you're putting your all into this person and they're not putting it into themselves. So just growing a level of discernment to know when to hold, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when
Good
to walk
song. It's
away.
a good song right there. It's a good
You know
song
what I'm
right there for
saying?
sure. For sure. So we gonna we
Yeah.
gonna do we're gonna do one more question for the ladies, and then we're gonna get into us because I ain't, like I said, Creek by herself. I ain't trying to have her do all try to have all the burden. So Creek, one more for the ladies. So me, it's gonna be back to you. Do you think being broke is viewed differently when it's a female versus when it's a male? Like, how do you think society views females when they broke versus how they view guys when they broke?
Well, obviously, with the guy, if they broke, that means he ain't shit. He ain't got shit. He just ain't shit. With a female, oh hell no, she gonna try to get me in my pockets. Girl, I ain't going broke for you. We all get, yeah, men and women do have different judgment when it comes to being that way. But I'm different. I can't really speak for everybody because I'm a different person. But
Facts.
I just, you never know what people got going on. You don't know if they was rich yesterday, and then today they all lost it all. Yeah, it's all about. I know. I can't even talk. But yeah, I can't. I don't judge. I just don't judge at all. I'm very different when it comes to that. My perspective of somebody is totally different. How everybody else project themselves.
Do you think there's like quote unquote a double standard when it comes to if you and a lady are both broke? Let's say y'all bank account got the same amount of dollars or none there. Does she get a better experience or a worse experience than what you would have if y'all on the same level bank wise?
Hold on. Say that one more time.
So like if let's say if you and Krika on y'all
Mhm.
both broke, y'all both got the
Yeah.
same dollar amount,
Mhm.
y'all both struggling eating ramen together. Do
Yeah.
you think that as a female she would get a little bit less of a harsher treatment than you would as a man because of being broke?
Yeah, not to sound disrespectful, but like hell yeah, like it's like situations today, like say like I'm about to be 30. God forbid I didn't have a crib or nothing like that, and I was staying with my mama versus, like like she's still with her mom or whatever, like it's gonna be looked at completely different. For me, it's gonna be like, oh, I ain't shit, I'm a bum. Like I'm like, what you doing? You up on your mama. Whereas like other people might look at the female side of it, and not everybody's gonna look at it that way, but most people would look at it as like, okay, like, like she getting on her feet, like she, doing her thing, like whatever. But like for a man, it's like, okay, like you ain't got your own this, you ain't got that, like what are you doing? Like you not operating like in your manhood. You don't got your own, like you still like, you know what I mean? Like that's how I feel about it.
Okay. Preston, what you think, man? Do you think it's a little bit different for men and women when they both broke?
Absolutely. And it's so disheartening because you can be in much like you said, you can have the same amount of money in both accounts or lack thereof. But from a standpoint of, let's just say you have two individuals on the bus, a man and a woman. Most times the man is going to be looked at as he ain't shit. He ain't figured it out. He got to figure it out. He's down bad. As in a woman's perspective, she's doing the best that she can. This is only temporary for her. Like she gonna figure it out. Like she didn't have to figure it out. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna turn over for her. But we in the same perspective, but because of our genders, there's a different divide in that. So whereas in like I'm here, we both on the bus together. We on public transit together.
Yeah.
It's a different thought process because In a woman's perspective, she's doing the best that she can. At least she's going and doing what she got to do, yada, yada, yada. Versus a man, he should already have that figured out. Not knowing maybe my brother's car had broke down 2 days ago and he in the process of trying to get it fixed. So he on the bus right now because his car ain't fixed. It's just two different perspectives. So I do think that sometimes there is quote unquote a double standard when it comes to a lot of different things. But the one thing that I can say is there's a narrative that you can't control, unfortunately. So the best thing to do is kind of just do what's best for you and make sure that your part is the best that you can do. So, because there is a different divide when it comes to women. Much like you were talking about in the beginning, as a man, you asking for money versus a woman asking for money is completely different. Now we both need the money, but it's just a different divide and how people perceive that and what they think about.
Right. Now I'm more comfortable with the question now.
Oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead. You say.
Dealing with experience. At one point in time, I was broke. Now, y'all say men, he ain't shit, he a bum and stuff. I had the same perspective on myself too. I guess because I'm a black woman in America. So I had the same perspective how people think about men. That's how they thought about me, and I'm a black woman. So I don't feel like it's double standard. I feel like it goes both ways to both men and women because we get judged the same way they do when it comes to that. Even though some people gonna think, oh, she is doing what she got to do. She is trying hard and stuff. They think about that with men too, but with women as well, we get the same judgment as the men. Like I don't think it's different because just my point of view and my life experience. I dealt with the same stuff. I asked for money and all that, and some people didn't give it to me because they feel like, well, you need to step it up. You need to do this. You got to do that because they a lot of people is not out here to help. They really out here to tell everybody, hey, she broke, she ain't got this. Yo, don't fuck with her. Yeah, like I had the same perspectives, and I was trying to agree with y'all when it comes to that, but it's like I can't agree because I've been in that perspective, and I got judged just like that. But I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I had to disagree with y'all with that one.
No,
No, you
and
good.
that's fine. That's what we're here
I don't
for.
take no
And,
offense
and
to
that's
it.
why I was saying, like, when I was talking, like, not everybody sees it that way,
Right.
but the
Okay.
majority consensus, like, they would look at it that way. Like
Yeah.
I said, like, you got a certain level of emotional intelligence and you really know a person and understand their situation, you gonna look at it differently and judge it accordingly.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And that's
I
why
think that there's a rule, there's an exception to every rule.
Okay.
So, Cricket, you are the exception to that rule. But for the most part, it's most people or much like Kill was saying, in most perspectives, that is the narrative that goes with that.
Yeah,
And it's
like,
Right.
less likely to be a problem or, a thought process whenever it's dealing with those two individuals.
Right, for sure, for sure. And then I thank you for saying that, Creed, because I wanted that. I didn't want this to be a man versus woman thing. I did not want that. I knew that question would bring that type of engagement. I was hoping you would have some stuff to say to counter that, and you did. So thank you for that. Because I know that it's not man versus woman, even though a lot of people think that I like to do that, right? It is nice to have clips like that, helping clip farming and stuff. But in actuality, at the end of the day, it's not man versus woman and then a problem. It's man and woman versus the problem. The problem is there's not enough money to go around in the black community, period. No matter what sex you are, it does not matter. That's the problem. Neither one of us should be in the bus to begin with. We both should be coming together collectively trying to figure something out so we both got a car. Like that's where the conversation needs to go. That's where the conversation needs to be steered towards. Not know, who got it worse when you broke. Like, who cares who got it worse? The fact is we both broke. Let's stop trying to be the best looking, the best acting broke nigga. Let's just be the best person, period. You feel me?
To
That's how I feel.
to piggyback off that, what's the question you was talking about? Holding the man down and stuff.
Mhm.
Too now, when a man do have on they come up, then that's when they act like, sorry, man. I had dealt with a lot of men when they do come on, they come up. Now they feel like they're better than me. It's like the person that helped you. Now you feel like you're better than me. And it's like, then they just don't know who you are anymore. And then that's when they go on to the next one. They got the nice car and all that. And then they give me the bombastic side eye. I wasn't there with you in the first place. But that's all I had to
Shit
say on
in
that
the
one.
gym. Come on,
Yeah.
cook.
No,
Creek.
exactly. You wasn't there. And I thank you for, because somebody in chat said the same thing. Me personally, Grams, you made it. You did make it, Grams. What's up? What's up, man? Me personally, I would never, and I think this is just me as a person. I think we all have a level of emotional maturity just by the way we talk, and I can kind of sense it. To where, if it was me, Krika, you wouldn't have to worry about that. If it was somebody else like who has much emotional maturity, you wouldn't have to worry about that. I think that comes from a lack of self-love, self-respect, and emotional maturity, to where you leave the person that was there with you to go get the thing that you desired when you was down. I think that's the problem. I think a lot of people, they desired a type of woman that they didn't have access to when they was broke, because that woman would not even sniff your way when you didn't have no money. But now that you got the money, you made it come up. Now you have access to that type of woman, so you're just trying to just go see what that be like. You was trying to go see, and when in actuality, the woman that was holding you down to get to this point, that's who deserves that. But that's just me. That's just me. I feel like, me personally, if I'm with a woman and she's been through there, through my homelessness and through all that, I don't care what Becky down the street, that now Becky looking at me. Hold on, Creeker was holding me down. Matter of fact, you want to go to, I'm like, the way I feel, if you holding me down, once I got it, we up. Keyword, we are up. That's how I feel about it. But Prez, you about to say something? What you about to say?
Nah, so if you, I'm pretty sure we've all heard the song "Gold Digger" by Kanye West. Okay, so he has a famous line in there. You basically, it's to to the instance of what we're talking about. He talking about the woman holding him down, and then he gets on and he leaves her ass for a white one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of one of those things where, like,
that happens a lot. That happens a
it
lot.
happens. So a lot of times people don't understand that. A lot of times, just rap lyrics in general, a lot of people talk about, like, you leaving the people behind once you finally get the win, and it's like, none of these people who you with now was with you when you was shooting in the gym. Like, when you ain't have nothing, when you was down bad, when you was down on your last stack of oodles and noodles, or whatever your struggle meal is. Now you get up, you got your funds up, now you want to act funny. What is that? I don't
Yeah,
understand
I
it.
don't
Like,
understand that. I've never
yeah.
understood that, man.
And that's
You know
what
what that
comes
sound like to me?
and that's what you said about being afraid. And what's the other word you said? I forgot, but you said about being afraid and stuff, to pursue like the financial stability when it comes to relationship. So yeah, I think we all dealt with something like that from men and a woman. So
Oh, I was about to say this sound like the script from Lottery Ticket, bro.
Lottery Ticket, no, that was the movie. No, that movie, I forgot about that, man. I can't eat, Kev. No, that was the movie right there, man. Because
Lottery ticket and
Whole time, Shorty been with him when he was down. As soon as
she
he
was there
came
the
up,
entire movie. She was there the whole time. But just like
and he
I
want to
said,
get Shorty
he
that
got
making him.
access to the shorty that he been wanting. He been wanting Shorty his entire life.
oh yeah,
And but she
just
always
like the
curved
shark
him.
test.
And she always curved. But now he got a little ticket in his pocket, and Shorty come out the blue, and she tried to trap him. So it's just like, and so it's I don't know. I think a lot of times I can speak for the men on this, because can I be real for a second? Us men are stupid in a certain type of way. We dumb. I'm gonna be honest with it. We dumb. We dumb as hell. We're very simple minded, so we get dumb and we fall for tricks easy. Okay. And when I say that, I mean, like, especially like for Kevin, that movie. Yeah, we don't recognize that this girl that's been with us the whole time, Ashley's in love with us. We see her as the homie. Now, that homie could be in love with us and we would have no fucking idea. And because most men, we put you in a category, right? We put you in a category and you're in that box. Once you're in that box, you don't move from that box unless something drastic happens, right?
You
Now,
speak up.
or you speak up, right? That's the only way you move out that damn box, right? So she was put into the homie category. So he don't even see her romantically. That's just the homie. That's my homie. Let alone she done grown feelings for him. She love him, all that stuff. But he ain't know that. Hey, that's just my homie. He see her as my ride or die homie, right? And so sometimes as men, we don't really see the obvious signs. I mean, obviously we can see it as obvious because it was a movie. But in actuality, if I put myself in Kev's shoes, I wouldn't have spotted that shit either. Kill, you wouldn't have spotted that shit either. None of us would have spotted that shit. Cricket probably would have spotted it. because women know the signs. But I'm gonna be
Now,
like, none of us three, we are not spotting that shit that she was like in love with us. None of us spotted that. Now all of us would have been the same as Kev. When she kissed us, they would have been like, oh shit. Damn, for real? All of us would have. That's the one where all three of us would have been like, "Oh shit." So yes, when female like, "Are men that stupid?" Yes, we are 100%. We put you in a category. You stay in that category. We do not move from that category. That is at least a man who is respectful and respects boundaries. That's how we operate, right? Now,
Yeah,
the men who like to play games, they gonna try you every once in a while. But like me personally, once you're in a box, you're in a box. You're there. You're just there unless something drastic happens. Me and Creek
okay.
have been best friends. I've never tried her. I never will. And same thing. If Creek ever did have some feelings for me, I would never fucking know because I don't even think that way. Don't even think that way. I would have zero idea. Zilch. And that's just how most men are. Like, once you're in the box, you stay there. So yeah, it definitely men are stupid and we're very simple, right? When it comes to stuff like that. Moving on to men and how we see stuff, we're gonna move on to the main question now. Black men, okay, and Prez, we've already talked about this a couple times. So I'm gonna let you start off with this. Black men are often expected, and I think that's a key word here, expected to provide, even when opportunities aren't equal. Okay, how does that pressure affect you to date? Prez, you can go first.
Okay. So for me, I think that the biggest thing is when it comes to us and our community, much like I was saying earlier, we are conditioned and taught to be providers, not husbands, not anything else, providers. So whenever I'm conditioned and always to be a provider, there's never an opportunity for me to cultivate a real kind of stigma or whatever to be a husband, unless if you always had a figure in your life who was a great provider and a husband. But if you look at most of the men that, for me, I'll say my grandfather was a great experience or great representation of what a provider looked like for me and what I saw. But there was also opportunities, I'm sure, in his life where he's emotionally unavailable because he came from a cut and dry background. There is it's black and white. As a man, you probably shouldn't. I think as he got older, he kind of shared a lot more of his emotions, but in his younger years and actually being a father and a husband and all of those different things, that was not something that he initially ever thought about. Because again, even now, most men who raise boys or to try to turn them into men, always tell them, get up, don't cry, don't show emotion, don't do this, next play, next this, good, bad, or indifferent. I think that we as a community have changed. We live in a stereotypical world where we kind of project those things into our children, and definitely our young black boys, to where we tell them your main objective is to be a provider, not to be a husband. In other communities, they teach them how to be a husband and a provider. A
Mm-hmm.
provider is added into that. In our community, your sole base thing is to be a provider. And the moment that you're not able to be that, what are you here for? You're another person that's added onto the bill to kind of like, take care of versus being a actual provider. And a lot of our women are taught to be hyper individuals and hyper vigilant and when they're independent. So whenever you grow up in a single parent household and you raised by a single mom, you see that kind of narrative to where I don't need a man for this. I yada yada yada. There's a lot of different things that you don't have to kind of really focus in on because just based off the fact of what you see. And a lot of times what people don't understand is if what you see, you emulate in some instances. So if this is what you see, a hyper vigilant mother who is hyper independent has nowhere, like, not to say she has no worries, but her thing is, oh, well, I don't need a man, yada, yada, yada. And most women don't. And I understand and respect that. There are parts of our community that still feel that way. And I think that a lot of times when it comes to being a young black boy growing into a man, you're institutionalized and taught to be a provider and not be a husband. So that's why you view a lot of men who have a bunch of kids, and some of them are just great providers for their families and kids, but not productive fathers and husbands. So, but I think that a lot of it has to do with the day and age that we live in. And on top of that, the previous experiences of what you see. Most people don't have healthy marriages, or you haven't been around a healthy marriage. I'm 32, turned 32 today. But for me, I've only seen one healthy marriage. Any other, like, my aunts, my mom, all of them are divorced. So the only healthy marriage I ever seen outside of TV, which all of that was scripted, was my grandparents. And it's not to say that they didn't have their issues, or they didn't have none of this other different things. But for me, for 32 years, that's all I ever seen. I've never seen them argue. I've never seen them do anything. So whenever you kind of emulate what you see, and if what you see is dysfunction around you, that's kind of what you're drawn to, because it's normal. Anything that seems normal to you or a safe place for you, you're more likely to abide into that and be into that because it's normal for you. Anything that you feel abnormal makes you, in words of one of my old mentors, it makes your ass itch.
Yeah, for sure. No, because you're not used to it. You ain't
You're
used
one
to
of
it.
them.
So
Yeah.
I'm actually want to bring up a clip. 'Cause like I said, shout out to homegirl Chrissy. We had an impromptu podcast last night, and this is one of the clips. Actually, I'm gonna play two clips. One to back up what Chrissy was saying, one of the questions before, and I'm gonna play this clip right now because it emulates what you were just talking about. Something I was saying. And it was a story of me telling you of my previous experience with a relationship I had, and how I went to my grandfather about marriage and all that stuff, because we were talking about how it was to be a man and how to be a husband, stuff like that. So this clip right here came from last night podcast and my experience with an ex, basically. So this is a good clip that really harps on what you were just saying. Period. Period. And that was just for me. And I did have this conversation with my grandfather. For anybody who doesn't know, when I think of love and I think of marriage, I think of my grandparents. Up until the day my grandparents died, they were married for 72 years. 7-2. You don't hear that no more. You don't see
People
that
don't
no
be
more.
married 70.
72 hours. So yes, when I did feel like this girl is my one, of course, the very first person I ran to was my grandfather. And we had, and you heard part of the conversation. And I said, yeah, I love her. And he told me straight up, yeah. First of all, you said think. If you really love her, think wouldn't have been there. That was the first thing he said. And he said, second of all, okay, if she is the one, like I just said in that clip, are you the one for her? Can you do what you're supposed to do as a man, not just financially? Because I think I mean, that's what we're talking about. That's the whole point of today's episode is financial. But I think as a man, there's more things to being a husband than just your pocketbook. Can you show up for her when she's sick? Can you show up for her when she feels weak? Can you show up for her emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and be the leader that God called you to be in every aspect besides just your pocketbook? I think a lot of people nowadays harp on the pocketbook too much, especially in the Black community, because in the Black community, that's the one thing we really haven't had. I think in the Black community, we've all had love. That's the one thing that in the Black community, we've always had, cookouts, barbecues. We've always had love, right? We've always had love, you grandma's parents. But one thing that a lot of us, not everybody, but a lot of us have not had is fucking money. And so that's everything that we all want, right? And so that's why I think people are hyper focused on the money part of it, and that is destroying relationships because we're hyper focused on the money. When when you're talking about marriage, I think all of us, and I'm just my point of view, I'm pretty sure we're all at the stage now to where we're taking dating a little bit differently now. Before you was dating for a good time, have a good time. But I think we all at the age now where we sound like, okay, I want to date to marry. I want to date because I don't want to date to just have fun no more. That was cool, whatever, that was my little fling. But now I'm looking for wives. Krika, you looking for a husband. I think we at that age now where we ain't dating just to have fun no more. And so once you start thinking in that direction, like I was telling in that clip, certain things you just don't fly when it comes to a girlfriend and when it comes to a boyfriend. Certain things just don't fly like they used to, right? And so that clip was really showing I was not ready to be a husband at that point. And even though I proposed to my ex, I had to tell her that, and then a lot of problems arise by me telling her that. And that was me coming to her real with saying, "Hey, babe, I'm not ready yet." Because I didn't tell her she wasn't ready. I said I was not. I can't be the best man for you. So let me get myself together. And that's hard. That's hard for a lot of people to do. On the flip side, I want to play this clip from the podcast with Chrissy last night, because it kind of backs what you were saying earlier, Krika, about we were talking about 50-50 relationships last night, but it kind of backs what you was talking about. So I'm gonna play this clip from Chrissy, and so y'all can kind of hear her perspective on 50-50 relationships and love while broke and things like that. You gotta have the balance. Like, no matter what, you
My
gotta
God.
have the balance. You got now, and we was talking about this earlier before we started recording. That's Chrissy. As you can tell just from those two clips, she has grown woman energy. Grown woman energy. It's a totally different aspect. Prez Kill, y'all can hear what I was talking about, right? Y'all don't know what the hell she looked like, but I know.
Yeah. She got her head on straight.
Y'all don't know what she looked like, but let me tell you, the image you have in your head, she looked like that. Kill. So with that being said, man, I know that you ain't get the chance to answer the question, man. Where's the question? Okay. So yeah, I'm asking the question once again. Black men are often expected to provide, even when opportunities are not equal. Okay. How does that pressure affect you when you're dating? If you've ever felt that pressure before?
I don't know. I carry, like I said, I've gone through my experiences and I've learned from a lot. So I can honestly say that I've come from a space where it's just like I just provide for people like naturally. It's just now with my way of thinking, I just have to be more selective about who I provide for and who I do things for. That's like the pressures that I face. Like, am I doing things? I'm gonna do things genuinely, regardless of the fact, but just hoping that I'm doing it for the right people, if that makes sense. But as far as I don't know, as far as like how I date, I guess I say like I haven't like really been in the dating space. Like I recently got out of a relationship about 4 months ago, so I haven't really like been in that space. So it's just like something I'm not like really on or but just from my experiences, I just like to tailor like who I allow to be around me, like because I provide for everybody. I look out for everybody, like a family, friends. Like if I'm romantically like involved with you or trying to be, like I provide. Like that's just me. I just have to be more selective about it. That's the struggle that I face.
That's good. That's good. That's good right there for sure.
But as far as like being the expectance of being a provider and all of that, yeah, like that is a struggle that us men face or whatever. I don't know. I I relish stepping into that role and being like it makes me feel good to be able to provide, but when it's like expected from the wrong people, I put it that way. Like I
Yeah,
don't
for
mind
sure.
doing that. Like I want to provide. I'm gonna look out regardless, but I just want to do it for I want to be doing it for the right reasons.
For sure, sure. So, Krieger, now that you heard all the guys' perspective on how we feel about the expectation of being able to provide, what is your viewpoint on that?
I'm more agree on both with Preston and Kill saying. Well, mostly on what Kill said because, well, first of all, I did not know y'all was raised to provide more. I thought y'all was raised to do it all, like the whole nine. Emotions, financial. I did not know. This is something new to me. And what Kill said is not really like a pressure. It's more who you do it to. You gotta be careful out here because you can do it to the wrong people and have the wrong aspect of it. Yeah, so I did not know, but I don't, to me, for myself, I don't look for expectations. Everything will come naturally. What I look for is, you know, the stability of it. I don't like to compromise. I hate compromising because if I expect something, I'm gonna expect something. You can't expect the unexpected, basically. So it's to me, yeah, you just gotta be careful who you do it to. That's it. But I'm learning something from this particular question because I did not know. But when it comes to that being what's that word that y'all said?
Discernment,
No, 'cause you said being careful.
selective.
So, like, yeah,
Okay, yeah. So being that is y'all focus on being providers. Y'all focus on being provided more and then emotion less. And it's hard to bring out a man emotions when it comes to relationship as a woman. It's like, why y'all gotta be so hardcore? Why y'all gotta be this? I mean, I like to see a man cry. I like I like the men that express themselves, like, what makes you happy, what makes you sad. But it's more of that lack in the relationship when it comes to a woman. Men are more hardcore because y'all, like I said, I did not know y'all was raised to provide more and emotionless. I did not know that. So now I see why it's hard for men to, express themselves. And that's what us women be looking for. We want to see y'all soft side as well. Okay, we love the hardcore stuff. We do. We like masculinity, but we want to see everything. We want to see what makes you cry. We want to see what makes you happy. We want to see what you don't like, what you do like. We like stuff like that too. Just speaking at my point of view, that's what I like to see.
Yeah. No, and I agree. I definitely agree because, and I'm gonna be honest, and this I'm speaking just 100% based off of me. We talking just Stu right now. Uh, it is hard. It definitely is hard because I was raised, and I think like not most, yeah, most men were raised that way. I was raised on how to treat a woman. It was drilled into me how to treat a woman, what to say. Now, a lot of people that know me now will probably say differently, but that's because I'm kind of in a rebel phase where I'm more leaning towards the men's side, towards the female side, because I'm like, damn, like men don't get shit. Like, can we? But before pre 2020, before I got this little rebel arc, pre-internet, I was 100%. Cricket, you probably you know me from college. I was always on the female side. I used to say men ain't shit all the time. It was just I used to say that, and I'm a man, and so yes, it got drilled into my head that we're like, if you can't provide financially, yeah. And so when I got to the point where I want to start dating, of course I led with money, and that's something I talked about with Chrissy yesterday on the podcast. I led with money because I thought that's what you had to do, right? That's what a man is going to make a woman's life easier. That's what I thought we were here to do, right? And so as I grew up and I'm growing, I'm like, yo, like, who won't watch my back when I'm going through some shit? See, my last relationship, the woman that I told you I was engaged to, we really started to fall apart because when COVID happened, I lost my grandmother, lost my father, and I'm losing people left and right. I took a lot. It was heavy for me, but she was never there. All she saw was Stuart not buying date. We ain't going on dates no more. Stuart ain't popping up like he used to no more. And so that really bothered me because I'm like, well, yeah, I don't got a car. I don't got money. I mean, I have money, but it's not as much as I used to have. Things are tighter now than they used to be. So why, just because things have gotten a little tight, your love and your treatment and how you view me has changed? And that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy and that's how my relationship was, and that's how me and her kind of started to fade away. Creek, what you gotta say about that?
Okay, so yeah, so me and my boyfriend we had arguments about that. Like, say if you loan money and stuff, like, okay, we don't have to go on a date. We don't have to go to the movies or anything. We got Netflix right here. We got food in there. We know we can still do stuff without money. We can go to the park. We can walk around, do something like that, just to stay emotionally attached. But finances is I'm not saying money is the root of all evil. I mean, it is, but I feel like you gotta stick outside the box. Like, say if you is low on money or something, like, what else? That's where your creativity come in. What can you do when you don't have money? Like we can take one of our blankets, come outside, sit down, have a little picnic. We got bread, peanut butter and jelly in there. Let's do something like that,
Facts. It's facts.
But yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that creativity. Like you said, if you low or you low on money, all that, it's money. Like I said, money is the root of all evil when it comes to relationship.
And I feel like for me, it was a little different because me and her were already long distance. And so when I say long distance, I mean she was in Greensboro, I was in Charlotte. So, but that's still an hour and a half drive, right? I can't just pop up daily. Like, you and your man live together, right? So living together, if y'all broke, that ain't, like you said, that ain't shit. Okay. Hey, babe, I'm gonna grab this blanket. We're gonna go outside, have a picnic blanket. Okay, cool. That's a 30-second thing. That don't require no money. But even low budget things, when you're long distance, it's still a budget thing, right? There's still a budget there. Gas money ain't free. Like, I have to plan, so I have to plan time. So it's just like, yeah, you set the standard with money. I did, and that's another thing. I set the standard with money, and I think that's a lot of thing cosmic right here that a lot of men nowadays are learning from that, and so they're no longer leading with money, right? the only people leading with money nowadays are the men who low-key they want to do that. I don't believe in that, but that's whatever. So I don't lead with money because one, I don't fucking got it. Let's be honest. I'm not like we talking about before, the type of men that go to the club, they save up 5-6 paychecks just to ball at the club for one night. I ain't doing that shit. Man, what? I would rather take you on a coffee date. We have some intellectual conversations, and then let's figure out how we can build and grow together. Like that's how person I am, right? But that's not flashy. That's not, whatever. So it definitely is a difference. It definitely is a difference right there. But Cricket, like you said, you want to see men cry and all that stuff, and that's good. Cause you said you never really thought about what we were talking about how we're raised as boys, right? So I'm gonna ask another question for the men here. How does the idea of masculinity and money weigh on black men? Well, on black men differently than others, right? We have talked in this, we've harped on this a little bit on how the black men have it a little bit differently than regular men, period. I don't want to make this too much about race, but we got to be honest. It is different as a black man compared to a white man or Asian man or whatever the case may be. So, Kill, you go first. I want you to talk about the idea of masculinity and money and how that weighs on you as a black man.
Let's see. Let me try to dissect it a little bit. How it weighs on me personally. I understand like where I fit into the world, like as a black man, like when it comes to other people's perspectives and how it's like we're seen as we have to like jump through more hurdles and shit like that just to get where we want to be. As far as like the masculinity of it goes, like it's like we as a people, like not even just speaking to like just the man, but like men and women like in the black community, we've already like been through so much and we still get beat down today, like just for like a lot of things. So we're already like kind of conditioned to be a little more hard body and everything. But where I'm at personally in life now, I'm allowing myself to be more open and like vulnerable with things, just like tapping in like to like my emotions and everything, and just like opening the dialogue to change the narrative when it comes to that. But I don't know, it's I don't know. I don't think it's like something that I like necessarily like really struggle with. So I don't really have too much of an input to it. But as far as like I said, the money thing, I try not to like lead with that, but also try to put myself in a position to be able to like make it. But I understand like the obstacles that we do go through like as a people that kind of like keeps us from having certain opportunities that other races might have that makes it a little easier for them. So I'll say that much. But yeah, I'll let somebody take that up.
Okay, bet. So prayers, man. Same questions, man. How is it for you? How does the idea of masculinity and money weigh on you being a black man different than anything else?
For me personally, I feel like it's one of those things that where like you kind of, it's either, for a lot of us, it's a different standpoint. Like, much like we have discussed a lot of times during this episode, that we are conditioned to be a provider, not to be a husband, not to be a lot of different things. You're conditioned to be so I think that it heavily weighs on the mental capacity of a man, because your thing is to figure out, I gotta provide, I gotta do this, I have to, or I'm less than a man. And the biggest thing is right now, I think that you have to understand the capacity of where you are and the person that you're with and where you want to build to be. Much like you said that your grandfather told you, okay, you think that she's the one, you messed up there. Okay, so if she is the one, are you the one for her? Because are you going to be able to do the necessary necessities to provide for her, make sure she has the everyday living things and have the lifestyle that she wants and that you want to provide for her. So I think that it heavily weighs on a black man. And then on top of the masculinity part of it is you're not in a position to kind of share your feelings for a lot of different things. So you kind of are in a position to where you you basically are in a box. So now you trapped yourself to not be able to share your emotions. a number of reasons. One may being the moment that you do is used against you, because there are a segment of women, and it's not every woman. So I don't want to make a blanket statement, but there are women who use those things as talking points whenever they're in an argument. Like, cause oh, I was with you when it, yada yada yada, and you wasn't saying that when you was crying on my shoulder, and it's just like, that was a space to where I was vulnerable with you. And now it's used as raised bait or target bait for our argument now. So now the next time where I do have an opposition, or I do have a problem, or I do have something going on, now I'm less likely to come to you because
I ain't coming to you.
right, because the next time it's gonna be throw it up in my face where it's like, well, there was an opportunity to where like I was genuine with you, and now it's kind of used as one of those things. So I think that knowing who your partner is and where you both are going, and making sure that your mission and goals are aligned, make the betterment of what you have going on. Because being in those instances where you may not be able to provide, there are things that you can do. And,
Mhm.
much like we were talking about earlier, even with being long distance or being with whatever, whenever you're not leading with money, you have to lead with intention. So the things that you do are intentional. So it doesn't, and this is free game. You can go to Publix or whatever your local grocery store is, get them to everybody, for the most part, everybody has a hair seat or whatever. Or there's a number of different places where you can go and get flowers that are not expensive,
$8.
but correct. You
Mhm.
can,
Mhm.
it's the thought that counts. Let's just say you don't have that. Okay, cool. You in a position where you don't have that. You have to be more intentional. So now you're writing a handwritten note. You're sending her a text. It's just the thought that what you don't understand is most women are, there are some who definitely want those materialistic things, and that's cool. By all means, there's no like, that we're human, but there are things where you have to be more intentional with what you do,
Mhm.
that money can't, that with money, and I say this all the time, when you have money, you don't have to think about stuff. Your thought process is completely different. Whenever you're in the process of dating, let's just say you're entertaining two people. One person with money, they don't have to think about it. It's less likely. It's just like, oh, much like you were saying, like much like Kill was saying, I can take you to a dinner and not think nothing of it because I got the bread. I can take you to State 48. I can take you to Ruth Chris, and I can drop a bag, and it don't hurt me.
It don't hurt.
Whereas
Yeah,
in
it
other
just
people, I have to be intentional with what I do as far as my finances or just the time that I spend. And listening to a recent K Camp song, you know it's really at the end of it, it's called "I Might Not Be Your Type." Okay, so at the end of the song, there is a section where the phone call is happening, to where she's talking about, like, whenever you everybody's looking for this 6 foot man with a bunch of money, yada yada yada, but every woman is looking for that, or most women are looking for that. And when they are looking for that, you might not even have that might be the right person for you, but are you the right person for them? You gotta, and you not matching that energy. So you gotta, you have to be kind of cognizant of where you are and what you want, and making sure that both of your missions align to where what you want to get to. And much like we talked about throughout this episode, we're at the age now to where we're not dating for fun. If you're still dating for fun, get out of the pool, because we don't
for real.
get out of the pool because we don't need you. You need to go to the kiddie pool. So, at this instances right now, I think if you're dating, you're
Real quick. He didn't mean the kiddie pool like the actual kids. He meant like the lower intelligent
no,
people. Let me just make that clear. I don't want no
yeah,
sound bites, no clips, none like that. Let me make that
no,
clear
no, no.
real
I
quick. All right,
mean
okay,
from the
okay, okay.
standpoint of like your maturity level, like
Right.
from that standpoint, because most of us are at the age now to where a lot of us, I'll say for me, you expected your life to be in a different place than it is right now. Whether
Mhm.
that's good, bad, or indifferent, you had in your mind growing up, there was a level of things that you tracked out to by this age you want to have. And a lot of us are disassociated with timelines just simply based off of the economy that we live in, just the state of the world that we live in right now. So there's a lot of different things that you kind of have, disassociated with to, really get into where you are right now. So I think that the biggest thing is making sure that who you're with is you both have alignment and everything is going the way that you want it to go.
Definitely. Definitely, definitely, definitely. And like I said, when I talked to Chrissy last night, we were talking about 50-50 relationships. We kind of came together and decided that, hey, honey, how you doing? Well, we kind of decided that 50-50, anytime there's money involved, at the end of the day, it's all about alignment. You and your partner, it's about alignment, right? What you and your partner decide to do, like Krika, you and your man it could be a relationship that's completely different than what I expect or what I want. But if it works for y'all, that's all that matter. I ain't in y'all fucking relationship. Kill you and your girl if you got one. It don't. The point is, it's about alignment. If you and your significant other or partner is aligned, that's all that matters. You at work, okay, we're gonna make that money, honey. If you have, just make sure you are aligned with whoever your partner is, right?
Agree with everything with Preston. Y'all said it also come with trust too. Finance equals trust to me. You gotta trust somebody. You gotta trust that person too when it
Hmm.
comes to finance like that. But that's all I had to say because I agree with everything Preston was saying.
Okay, okay, yeah, definitely,
That
definitely.
was it.
Finance is definitely for sure, for sure. And I think, yeah, and just reiterating what I was saying before, like just because in the black community we really haven't had money like that. So when a black person does have money, that person has to guard it, right? Because now your phone will be blown up by everybody. Hey, bro, let me borrow $20. I got this little lick I need to hit, or I got an idea that could blow us. You become that person everybody calls to help them get out the struggle. You was able to make it out. Now they want to latch on to your coattail so they can get out too. So that's a whole different story. I think I might have to that might be a podcast for next month where I'm gonna get some guests who have made it out and they can tell their point of view for what it's like to be the person that everybody calls on when they made it out. So that might be a podcast for a different day. But I'm gonna leave this question at Krika. You can answer this first. What do you think is harder to build to build a relationship with? A person that is broke, like a broke partner, who is also healing themselves, or a stable partner, somebody who's stable financially, but emotionally they are just broken.
The second one, that's financially, stable, but not emotionally because a person can have like trauma. Trauma is real, depression is real, all that. Now, if they didn't heal from it, if they're not healing from it, and they just, they forgot about, they push their feelings to the side, and they're just going to get money and stuff. Now, if they didn't tap into those emotions from their trauma and stuff, I feel like that's a person that's harder to deal with when somebody that's broke and is healing.
Hmm.
Because you can never, somebody might be argumentative. You don't know why they argumentative for. Somebody can not trust you. You don't know why they can't trust you. It all plays into all that. And I dealt with somebody like that. Somebody that was financially stable, but it was arguments every day. I felt like it made me feel insecure because he was insecure and he was mad all the time. And it was like, I'm trying to make him happy. And it made me depressed, trying to make somebody that's not emotional stable, made me feel made me, be in the same bunch. One bad apple spoils all the good fruit. I was getting spoiled with that toxicness and stuff too. So when somebody is not emotional, that's a real thing. And I'm trying to play doctor, trying to help them, yeah. If somebody do not want to tap into their emotions or don't want to be helped, then sometimes you just gotta leave that person alone. But as much as you love them, much you want to stay with them, you can't. So when somebody is emotional, there's not emotional stability. That's the hardest.
Do you think it's harder to date somebody or be with somebody who's emotionally broken but got the money, or somebody who don't got no money but they're emotional, they are emotionally?
Okay, so I have for me, it's what you have the capacity to deal with. Um, because for some people, they have the capacity to deal with someone who's emotionally broken because we can get you therapy. We can pay for therapy. We can we can kind of cultivate those different things. And from a financial standpoint, we can get you a job, or but there's one thing that I can't fix in that, that broken standpoint is your drive. Is no matter, like, if you don't have the desire and the will to do this, there's nothing I can say or do. And it's only so long that I can keep you motivated to where you're going to do that. And it goes for both instances, whether you're broke financially or broken emotionally. There again, that there's work that has to be done on both ends. And if you're not willing to do said work, it's not going to work either way. Uh,
Hmm.
and you have to understand the capacity that you have for either one, and making sure that your partner and or who you're in a relationship with is aligned with that, because I can only push you so far. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink. So you literally have to understand both dynamics of it, and knowing that with being with somebody who is not making the financial standpoint that they're making, and possibly the person who is emotionally uh unstable or broken, you kind of gotta get, fix that from a standpoint of them both getting, you know, in alignment. So I think that there is a two part to that. It really comes down to the individual and the capacity that you have to kind of deal with that. Me personally, I feel like that it boils down to what your drive is, and if what that looks like.
For sure. No, for sure. It definitely does boil down to that and what you can accept and what you can tolerate. So that's a good point of view right there. I like that. I like that. Kill, what do you think is easier to deal with somebody who's financially stable but emotionally broken, or is it easier to deal with somebody who's, broke but they've emotionally empty?
All right, so listening to prayers, like I'm gonna piggyback off of him because like a lot of the stuff that he was saying like spoke to like my situation personally. So I was in a situation where I had it, my partner had it, like, we both do for each other. But it's just what caused our relationship to like fall off is that, there was something emotionally broken within her that I couldn't do anything or say anything to fix it. She just was like she get through that. And it just kind of like put a halt on everything. But I feel like on the flip side, um it's easier to build with the person um who has it together emotionally, like if they are healing properly. If you're healing the right way, that means that you're opening yourself up to better communication and all of the above. So it's like if you don't got it, but you're healing properly and you're being more communicative and things of that nature, it would lead me to believe that you're actually tapping into your potential. Like going back to what I was saying earlier, some
Hmm.
people like you see a person where they are, they ain't got it, but you see what they could be, but that person don't see it for themselves. So if they are healing properly, they're starting to see themselves in the right way, then that opens up a little bit more for building. But if you're just in a position where it's like the person got it, but just emotionally, like they're not checked in, then it's not really much that you can really do with that.
And that is true, man. And I see now. I definitely I want to thank y'all because there's been a lot of stuff. This episode was a really great episode that I want to have. I ain't gonna lie, selfishly for me. I low-key wanted to have this episode selfishly for me because I've been, like I said, well, I've talked a little bit about relationships where, like, dang, like, I want to know how women think and how men think. Maybe I'm the outlier to where, like, wow, when I got it, you know, it's not that hard to be in a relationship and everything cool, but when I don't got it, that's when all the problems start. So it's real easy to point the finger and stuff like that. And so, but that definitely through learning through age and growing, I did have some mental insecurities I had to work through. I had a lot of stuff of my own stuff I had to work through. So that this episode is helping me out a lot, and I hope it's helping the audience out a lot as well. So because we're making this episode for people to watch to grow, become better, what advice, Kill, we'll start with you. What advice would you give to young black men, or shoot, in our community, there's some old heads that think young too. So what would you give advice would you give any person, black, white, doesn't matter the race, that is afraid to date because of financial struggles or emotional trauma? What advice would you give them?
Don't be afraid. Put yourself out there, but before you do that, make sure that mentally you're at a place where you can understand, like you can differentiate the good and the bad. Like you have to open yourself up to going through things in order to grow. So where you feel like you lack in certain areas, you have to put yourself in those spaces so that you can like figure out what's for you, what's not for you. That's just like what I tell people, like just as a man or just a person in general, like when you're talking to God, when you're praying to God, pray to him, but be ready to put in action behind it, because God not just gonna give you what you asking for. You feel me? If you feel like you want to be a more courageous person, or you want this or that, he's not just gonna like put in your heart like, oh, I woke up this morning and I got all the courage in the world. He's gonna put you in situations to step into that and be that courageous person or whatever it is that you want. So you just have to just build up yourself like to be emotionally strong, to handle situations and take the blows as they come so that you can grow from it, but also be mad intentional about how you go about it. But at the same time, like don't forget, like keep God in the mix of everything. Like you got to keep him involved, because as long as he there, everything is gonna go as it should. So that's my biggest advice. Just like stay prayed up, move with intention, and don't be afraid to go through the fire.
Exactly, going through the fire, because there's gonna be fire in relationships. If you got in a relationship and you ain't going through the fire, somebody lying. Somebody lying. So, Cricket,
Yeah.
what uh, what would be your advice to people who want to date, but maybe they don't got it financially, or maybe they're going through some trauma, but they still want to love? What would you say to those people?
Don't let money define who you are as a person or in your relationship. Just love. Like be creative in your love and just love. Just plain old simple. Just love. Love gonna come with the money. It's gonna come with the happiness. It's gonna come with the good, the bad, and the all around. It just how you know how you can deal with it, how you can handle it, and just love, man. Because we and nowadays we just worry about that one thing. We've been worried about this one thing ever since we, moved out of our parents' house. So just love. Money don't define everything. Love ain't gonna solve all your problems. And like what Kill said, just pray about it. Praying will go a long way, but you gotta go, like he said, you gotta go through those obstacles as well. So my advice is, yeah, do not let money define who you are at all. And just love, 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 being emotional, do all that. So just be real with yourself too. Don't you just gotta stay real too in the making of it. Just be real.
Yes,
And that's
sir.
and happy
I love
birthday,
that.
Preston. Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday! Exactly. I was just about to say happy birthday. And that is real. That is good. I love how you said that. Cricket kind of remind me like the old Nike slogan. Which, by the way, did they change their slogan? It used to be "Just Do It." I don't think that's "Just Do It" no more. But anyway, it kind of remind me of that. Like you said, just love, just love. Love is stronger, or should be stronger than any financial situation. Love should be stronger than any type of emotional baggage. Love should carry you out of any different thing. And if you're doing it correctly, it will carry you over all those humps. So I love that, Crick. I definitely do love that. Perez, we're
And
gonna end it with you on this question, man. No, dang, I forgot. Okay. Yeah, so once again, man, what advice do you have to people who are maybe afraid to love because of financial struggles or emotional trauma?
So for me, I feel like the way that you kind of combat that is knowing who you are. Be grounded in who you are, in your faith, whatever that is. Be grounded in that and do the work. There's going to be an emotional standpoint. There's going to be a financial standpoint. There's going to be a point where you're going to have all of those things connected. And while you're doing that, travel. Do whatever you feel like is best for you. If there's a relationship that is meant for you, there's going to be the biggest thing is it's going to be there for you. What's for you is for you. There's nobody who can take your place. There's nobody who can do or whatever. What's for you is for you. The biggest thing is, like I said, is travel, broaden your horizon, get those experiences that you want, because once you're, and it's not to say once you're in a relationship or you're in a different predicament that you can't do that, but you also want to know and figure out those things for yourself. So when you are in that standpoint with someone else, it's like, man, this was an amazing experience that I was able to do, because the biggest thing that most people deal with is regret. You can, you can't, those are things that you wished coulda, shoulda, coulda, woulda. If you were able to do that, then you would. So that's one of the biggest things I would tell, any individual to go and experience life. There's places that you want to travel, things that you want to see, places that you want to eat at, whatever you want to do, or whether it's skydiving, whatever that is, do that, because you can only take a person where you've been because you've been there. And, just from an emotional standpoint and from a financial standpoint, I can't tell you, oh, you should have $1 million and yada, yada, yada in your account. And here I am sitting at negative 200 and something in my account. What are
Mhm.
the dichotomy in that is
Yeah.
crazy. What are we talking about? So I think that the biggest thing is, like, you can only preach to someone from a standpoint of, the biggest thing is practice what you preach. So if I am from this standpoint and I'm telling you, I have examples to, like, hey, these are the pitfalls here, this and this and that, I can help you along the way because I've been there, done it, and I got the t-shirt to go with.
Yeah, you got to live vicariously through other people and their experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be my biggest thing, to kind of, to let people know, like, to just go out and experience life.
Go out and experience life. That's good, because look, the life is gonna be the best teacher you ever have. Life is gonna be the best teacher you ever have. So I got the last question here, and once again, I'm gonna open the floor to anybody in chat. If y'all got any questions y'all want to ask Chrissy, I see you in chat now. Once again, I'm gonna have me and Chrissy's podcast from last night up after this one. I'm still editing that one because it's a little bit different. Neither one of us had our cameras on, so editing that's a little bit different. But definitely, chat, if y'all got any questions, don't be afraid to type in the chat. But this is the last question here. Is the last question on the list, man. Do y'all think healing, whether it's financially healing or emotionally healing, should happen before love? Or do you think love can help you get past that hump of emotional growth or financial growth? Krika, I'm gonna let you start with that. Do you think love can love you out of bad situations financially or emotionally?
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, yeah. Do you think, just your own opinion? You don't gotta be politically correct or nothing. Do you think love f- can bring you out of a bad situation, either emotionally or financially? Loving someone, can you love someone out of that?
Of course, I think so. Especially like if you're willing to, but it's gonna be humps and stuff on when it comes to that. But yes, I feel like love can bring you out your financial and your emotion, especially the emotion part. Like I said, once you learn yourself and you know what love really is, then I feel like you can come any obstacle when it comes to your relationship. And that's in my opinion.
Okay, love that. Love that. Got true lover right there. I love that. You know what I'm saying? Kill, what you think, man? Do you think you can love someone out of either financial or emotional strengths?
I feel like I could, but just personally speaking, I feel like most people should at least attempt to try to come into a situation healed for the sake of not bleeding on the next person. But me being like a lover too, like I feel like sometimes like you run into a person or somebody's love can like change your perspective on certain stuff, and that little change can be the catalyst to like push them to where they need to
Mm-hmm.
be. So sometimes you can love a person out of that place. You just have to be careful. You just have to be careful not to like protect your energy, but like that comes with knowing yourself. When you know yourself, you're aware of like the things going on around you and how things shift your energy. So me personally speaking, like I can be around a person and love them like while they're healing and going through things, but I'm also going to make sure that I'm not like getting too close to where it's like changing how I view things or making me feel negative about certain stuff. So it's just having, if you're gonna put yourself in that place, make sure that you're emotionally intelligent, and make sure that you're doing everything genuinely for the right reason, or just don't do it at all.
I agree. I definitely agree. It's something my brother used to tell me all the time, and I didn't get when it came to relationship stuff till recently, right? If anybody's flown, you guys know this, man. You got to secure your own mask first. You know, otherwise you can't help the baby next to you. You can't help the paralyzed person next to you. You got to secure your own mask first. And for a very long time, I'm gonna be honest. To me, that was selfish as hell. But now I understand. I definitely understand now that trauma bonding is a very real thing. Like we shouldn't have to we like I shouldn't have to tell you my trauma and then you tell me your trauma. Now we love each other because we both is just trauma bonded. It's not good. We need to be able to love each other healed. And so, like you said, man, I know Crick, you talked about trying to play a doctor for a man. Like to be a doctor, doctors gotta protect themselves. So they don't get diseases. They don't get stuff. You gotta have the gloves on, you gotta have water. So like you said, Kill man, you gotta be able to protect yourself, and that comes with knowing yourself. So you can protect yourself from those energies that unintentionally a trauma filled person is just going to do. They may not mean to do it, but it should, because when you're hurt people unintentionally. That's just what they do. And so when going through it, you have to know that it's coming, right? And so that's why, one, if as the receiver, as a person who's doing the healing, you have to be willing to put up with that because it's a monster, and it requires patience and stuff. And two, if you are the person healing, you need to know, okay, I'm healing. I need to not put myself. I don't want to bleed on my partner. I'm gonna do everything I can to not bleed on my partner. So that's that. So that's my 2 cents on it. Well, Prez, what do you think, man? Do you think that it's easier to love someone out of financially, emotionally, or do you think it's possible, not possible? What you think?
So I do feel like that it is possible, not to get churchy or anything like that, but the Bible says, "A man who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtain a favor." It's not to say that you didn't have it before, but there's a level of favor that comes with being with the right partner,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's financial, emotional, business, friendship, whatever it is. There's a different thing when you're connected to the right people. So being intentional with who you are around in your circle, whether like much like I'm saying, platonic or romantic, there is a different thing. There's a different level when you're connected to the right people. So they're not going to put you in a position to be in a place to where like you could end your future or put you in a predicament to where your things around you are in question. So I do think that you can love somebody out of a situation, but it comes to the point of where you both have the capacity to deal with this. And that is the biggest thing, is your capacity. And the next thing is you have to know what are you expecting from both parties? What does that look like? What is your expectation? Because I may be expecting you to show up in one way, or you may be able to show up in another way. And it's not a way that I need you to show up. So it really kind of deals with where your expectation and your capacity for both, for each other. But I do think that being with the right person makes a difference. And what you feel, what some other person may feel like is a chore to love you, and is somebody else's daily first thought to do, is to love you in every capacity, every season of your life, just simply genuinely being that they love you. So with that, I think that you can wheel somebody out of a space, but it comes to the factor of each individual, because I can want this, and this for you. But if you don't want it for yourself, I'm beating a dead horse and I'm shouldering a load that you're not ready for. And it comes to a point to where like it's doing us, it's a disservice to us both. And I'm damaging us both, because now I'm dragging you to a place that you don't want to be at. And then I'm constantly shouldering that load because I'm breaking down to a point to where like I'm trying to hold us both because you're willfully not wanting to be here. So it comes to the factor of who you're aligned with, and what that, making sure that both of you are in agreement and expectations and where you're going, because that is the biggest thing.
That is the biggest thing, man. I think you said it perfectly. I think you said it perfectly, man. You gotta have the will to want to love somebody through that stuff, man. That is so. Thank y'all once again. This was a W episode. Got real deep. Got real heavy. I loved it. I loved the conversation. It kind of got into what I thought was gonna be, right. We had a little man versus woman and certain stuff. We had some deep communication. This was a really great episode, and I thank you, Kill Creeka Press, for coming on. It was an awesome episode, man. So next week we're actually kind of piggybacking off of this week. Next week we're talking about, because we talked about struggle a lot this week. We talked about the struggle of being black, talk about the struggle of being a woman, talk about the struggle of dating and loving. So that's what next week is all about. The struggle and how to get out of it. Next week's episode is titled, Who Am I Without the Struggle? And I think that's gonna be a really good one to me. I'm not gonna want to miss that. Same time, Sunday, 2 p.m. I'm gonna have a guest. So make sure y'all follow me on socials. Twitch.tv/Big Stu Gaming to watch everything live. Follow me on Twitter so you guys can see who's gonna be the podcast, because it's gonna be a good one. Who are you without the struggle? If you guys want to be on the episode, let me know. And I'm gonna leave it like this, man. The cool down den. We always cool with how we say things, but it's not always cool with the topics we have, man. So thank y'all so much for coming in. And chat, I'm gonna send y'all over to. I'm gonna be honest, chat. I was going to raid Ryubi, but she got off. So I don't know who to raid. Chat, y'all know somebody y'all want me to raid? Y'all got somebody y'all want me to raid? I don't know who to raid. This is the streamer portion of it. I'm gonna send the chat to somewhere, because you can send chat to people. Like, once you done streaming, you can send the entire chat to someone else. And I was going to raid Ryubi, but she got off. So, you know what? I'm gonna send him to Sensei. I don't think nobody here has met Sensei, so I'm gonna send him there. So yeah, so I want to thank everybody for coming in and vibing out. Like I said, next week's episode is gonna be Who Am I Without the Struggle. So I think that's gonna be a banger episode just like this one, because I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be very honest, y'all. That's a fear. That's a fear for me. I've struggled my whole damn life to the point to where I don't know who I am without the struggle. And I think that's real for a lot of people.
You know, that is not a fear for me, bro. That's not a fear. For me to, like, if I don't have the struggle, that means all of my shit is limitless. Like, literally, limitless. Like, if you don't have to think about nothing, no struggle, no nothing, this shit is limitless. Like, if I don't have to worry about finances, none of this shit, I'm finna go off. I'm finna go crazy, because
And so I guess I'll say that's my fear, right? Because it's limitless, who do I become as a person? Because I have limitless ability, right? And so I think that's kind of where I'm leaning towards. It ain't more like, for me, it ain't like, once again, this is a little snippet preview of next week. But to me, it's not like, oh, I'm scared that I have money, and for me, I know I'm gonna have money. I know I'm gonna have this. So what decisions is Stewart gonna make, because he knows it's gonna be there? Because
the decisions you've always wanted to make, but finances stop you.
Exactly. And that's the thing. Is it gonna be good decisions or bad? Because we've already talked about how, like, when you have different brackets, it's just you think about things differently. Like, we've been trained because of the bracket we was raised in. Some things you don't even think about, because it's not even a goddamn possibility. So you might as well just get out your head. So now that let's say we all become millionaires, billionaires, and we blow up. Okay, well, now that financial factor gone. So now it's like, shit. If I wanted to, I could hop on a plane and go to Jamaica because I feel like it. But is that the smart thing to do? And so it's like, that's what next week is gonna be about. That's what next week is gonna be about. So make sure y'all tune in for that, man. So yeah, we're gonna send y'all over to Sensei next week. But once again, thank y'all so much for tuning into the Cool Down Den. And as always, make sure y'all keep a cool head no matter how hot the topic gets. I love y'all, and see y'all next time. Peace out.
Peace.
See y'all later.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna wait till I send